Today is the day I'm losing all of my Swedish subscribers, because what you're seeing here are definitely not Swedish meatballs, but at the same time, they kind of are. If I may explain for just a second, a few years ago, the official Twitter account of the country Sweden dropped a bombshell. They claimed that Swedish meatballs are in fact Turkish, at least their historic origins. They had this fun and cute backstory, but it didn't take the internet very long to disprove that theory. So long story short, Swedish meatballs are probably not from the Middle East. But what if they were? Have you ever ordered hummus with meat? You know, when they put hummus in a circle and put some meat in the middle. And I think at this point, some of you might already have an idea where this is going. Apologies in advance to my friends from Sweden, but this is my recipe for Köttbullar, or the Swedish Meatbowl. This episode is jam-packed because we are making all the important elements of Swedish meatballs. Cucumber salad, mashed potatoes, gravy. And if you thought I'm crazy, how about we start with this one? Lingonberry jam, a Swedish favorite. Except this one isn't even made from lingonberries. I mean, I love them, but they can be hard to find unless you're going furniture shopping. So what if we faked them with the help of cherries? That's right, these are some frozen cherries that I thought, and I'm adding them to a blender along with a secret ingredient: tonic water. I figured that cherries plus some extra sweetness and a hint of bitterness sort of equals cranberries, which sort of equals lingonberries. Blend them up and add to a saucepan. Bring that to a simmer, add a pinch of salt, and continue reducing for about 5 to 10 minutes until you get some very heavy bubblage. Take off the heat and quickly stir in a bit of cornstarch slurry for a silkier texture. This mixture is still quite runny as it's hot, but once it cools, it will be just right. Transfer to a glass jar, and I promise you, if you ask someone if they notice anything weird about this cranberry jam, they will never be able to guess this actually isn't even made from cranberries. Next up, we got the classic quick pickled cucumber salad. So easy and goes so incredibly well with a ton of things, not just köttbullar. Get a fresh crispy cucumber and slice that as thinly as you can. I highly recommend using a mandolin slicer like this for precision and to save a ton of time. Add a splash of your favorite light vinegar, then sprinkle with sugar and a generous pinch of salt. Now, I insist that this tastes a million times better if you chop up some fresh dill and add that into the mix as well. Get in there with your hands and mix everything to combine. You want that seasoning to get onto every single slice, so make sure you separate the ones that stuck together. Get everything into a container and rest this delicious cucumber salad for at least 30 minutes, but it will still taste great in a day or so. Next up, we need to talk about mashed potatoes. I've made mashed potatoes from scratch, and you probably have as well, but I want to come clean here and admit that I'm absolutely fine with using mashed potatoes made from bagged dehydrated potatoes. I use a brand that doesn't use any additives other than salt. I just follow package instructions but replace some of the milk with cream for a richer result. Then I season with salt, a kiss of nutmeg, and plenty of pepper. I know this is heresy, but for getting perfectly smooth mash in like under 3 minutes, I am not ashamed of using this shortcut. I am actually proud of it. But now let's get to what might arguably be the centerpiece of this recipe: the deconstructed meatballs. I start by finely dicing a white onion, then I melt some clarified butter in a pan and add to the chopped onion. Sweat those for a minute or so. Now is the time to add some minced meat. I like the rather traditional 50-50 pork and beef mix, but you can use other types, whatever floats your boat. Use a spatula to break and smash everything into small bits, and keep pan frying your meat mixture for a few minutes until the meat juices cook off and you're left with only deliciously sizzling, not simmering, crispy mince. Season everything with salt, a little garlic powder, then with a hint of ground allspice, ground cinnamon, and a little pinch of ground nutmeg. For extra color, I like to add a little splash of dark soy sauce as well. Set your delicious meat mix aside, but do not clean your frying pan. All the caramelized bits here will make for a delicious fond that will boost the flavor of our gravy. For that, I first add another knob of clarified butter, then some flour, which we're gonna mix together and let it brown and caramelize lightly. Now we add a generous dollop of mustard. It adds tons of flavor and helps with a creamy texture. Once everything starts looking somewhat pasty, it's time to add the liquid. I'm gonna go for milk with a little bit of added cream, even though you could also use stock or just cream or a mix of all three. Stir it in, going roughly a third of the liquid at a time, and in just a few minutes, you should get a fantastic silky smooth gravy. Give it a quick taste check and season with salt and pepper to taste. See, making gravy really doesn't have to be hard. But now for the final assembly. Spread out your perfect mashed potatoes on a large plate in a circular motion, creating a slightly elevated edge. Then, using the back of a spoon, try to make a deep groove around the outer perimeter of the mash. This will sort of create a channel we can fill with our delicious rich gravy. Onto that little potato island in the center, we can now spoon on a little heap of our delicious seasoned meat. Just be sure to fix yourself a little plate of our quick pickled cucumber salad. And definitely don't skip our fake cranberry dip, of course. Last but not least, garnish your potato meat bowl with something green like parsley or chives and dig in. The rich gravy, the smooth potatoes, crispy, well-seasoned meat. Somewhat unexpectedly, this recipe is actually a keeper. Not kidding, I kinda started this as a wacky idea, but after giving this a try, I really had no choice but to put my skepticism aside. Thank you for sticking with me as I intend to break every single food rule I can think of, and as always, I hope to see you in the next one.